Hello, Mr. Andy Duck, and welcome back for another video. Today I've got two replays to show you in the brand new Tier 8 German premium medium tank, the Kampfpanzer 07. Now, obviously this tank's just come out, so I'll just talk briefly a little bit about the tank as a quick summary. It's a very mobile medium tank. Almost got like a light tank, mobility about it. It's got 65 kilometers an hour. It's got decent camo. I think I've got it down to around 282 concealment with the camo net on. And it's very mobile and agile. It reverses well. It moves around the map well. And then it has 9 degrees of gun depression. And has a very good gun in the sense of it has fantastic DPM. It's got like a 8 seconds reload without your food activated. Only 200 alpha, but you can rack up the damage very quickly if you get an opportunity to do so. It has no armour whatsoever, so you're really not going to bounce shots in it, and 9 degrees of gun depression. I guess I'd say the weaknesses of the tank is the fact that it has no armour, and the penetration is not great. You've got AP on the standard rounds, with 205 penetration, and heat on the premium rounds with 255 penetration, and the velocity is not great. But you do have the good HE sort of pen of the 90 with 320 alpha. So if you get an opportunity to shoot at those lightly armoured tanks, the Borsigs, etc., you can rack up a lot of damage quickly with those HE rounds. But anyway, I'm sure you're bored of me rambling on, so let's just get into the games and we can show you what the tank can do. Okay, so let's get to it then. For the first replay on Hellborne, we are top tier. There is one enemy fun police and no enemy light tanks. So from the start, we're going to push forward to a position I like to take often when I get this spawn, especially if I've got the mobility to get there quickly. Which is sort of around, you'll see in a minute, in this sort of ridge in front of us, where I can try and spot the cross, work out if anything, sometimes enemy team, pushes out aggressively and you're able to get a few shots on them, create a different angle, and at least it'll give me some information of where the enemy team may be, and that's positioned here, because I also will have protection from the hill from our spawn. On Hellborne, you often get a lot of camping tanks on your base who just stay in your base, and at least if I spot a few tanks, they may be able to get shots in. But at the start, I'm not really detecting anything. I probably got here quicker than most tanks, because I do have that speed, being that there's no enemy light tanks as well. But as I'm not getting anything, I'm going to try and push further forward, try and work out where the team is. Now, we spot an enemy Talon. At this point, I don't know what else is with the tank. I'm just going to lose my spot and see if we can try and spot any more tanks, but it's not happening, so I'm going to push further forward and try and use the ridge in front of me to see if I can get any side shots on this Talon. If the Talon's by themselves, we may be able to try and get some shots in and work on that tank. I mean, that tank has good alpha for tier 7, but it has terrible aim time, and we should be able to take it out. But as we poke up, we actually spot at least sort of 3 tanks here. We'll get a shot into the enemy heavy there on the right hand side. But now I've noticed I don't really have the support from my team. I have 3 tanks sort of with us, but they've got no shots at the moment. If the enemy team decide to full send us, we just spot an E25, which you do manage to bounce. But if the enemy team full sends us here, we're going to die. We've got no armour. I'm going to try and... So I'm making the decision, I'm going to try and fall back. Because like I say, it's not safe for me anymore. If I had the support, we could work it, we could battle, but I don't have that. So I'm going to fall back, trying to use this rock there in the middle to try and shield myself and the enemy team. I fall back, the enemy Talon does actually push forward. I'm going to see if I can get any shots in. I don't quite have the shots, and I'm not liking this engagement. We've won the, looks like we're winning the town, but over this side, it's not looking too pretty. We've got 3 tanks with us, but we're starting to get surrounded. And I'm just going to get out of there. I've made the decision just to move. You do have the mobility in this tank to do so. If you don't like the fight where you're in, you can try and change it up and get across the map. And I've noticed this enemy Dragon is out of position, so this is why I've moved over here to try and deal with the Dragon. Unfortunately, we get an unfortunate ricochet of the Dragon, can be a bit trolly, but then at least RMG gives us the fire, and we managed to put the Dragon onto a one-shot. But again, I haven't really got going in this game that much. It looks like we're starting to lose the other side. And I want to try and at least win one side of the map, so we don't just get surrounded and lose all map control, because then, you know, ultimately we're going to end up losing the game. But I'm kind of stuck in an awkward situation here, because I need to get rid of this Dragon, because at the moment there's too many angles on me and I can't stay here for too long. You know, if you notice on the mini-map behind me, those teams are winning that fight. If I stay here, I'm just going to get killed. But thankfully for me, well, thankfully for me, the Dragon gets taken out, so it's at least freed me up to move around. We've won the town, which it means I know I've got at least a bit of support from the town. I'm not going to get shot from the town if I go around this side of the ridge. I'm going to try and move and get some damage. We've lost the other side of the map, but I'm not concerned we're going to get capped out just yet, because we do have a few tanks on the base. And I can get back if need be, you know, thankfully for the mobility of this tank. So I'm trying to get around the back and deal with these two tanks which you can see on this ridge. I want to try and get behind them and then use my camo to get shots in, because at this point of the game, you know, there's 9 enemy tanks left and we've already got 8, and I've only done 500 damage. I've not had a great start to this game. I've had to really try and work to try and get anything out of this game at this moment. But we get one for the lower plate of this medium tank there. We get a second one in, blind shot. Now we're looking to try and, you know, we can finish this guy off for maybe 2 or 3 shots. We get another one in. You can see the camo there using. I didn't get detected. I do get detected this time, but hopefully I'm being able to finish him off before we can get a shot into me, which we do so, at least clearing up some of these tanks. Now I swap to the heat shells, because this Nomad with the 205 penetration from this distance with the AP rounds, we're really going to struggle. We're going to need the heat to try and go through. But now we've lost our Tiger 2 on this side, and there's 2 tanks sort of over here. I need to get rid of them before they're both together, which is going to cause me a real problem. I know the Vengeance is about 3 shot to us, so I was going around to take out the Vengeance, but the Vengeance has gone over the ridge. This is awkward because I don't want to be fighting 2 tanks while they're both shooting at me. So I'm going to try and focus fire and take down a tank as quickly as we can. We get 2 tanks in. You can see how quickly you can kill a tank. Fun Police is shooting at us as well. I'm in a very awkward situation. I'm dealing with 2 tanks, but this is where the DPM, you know, comes in, you know, really helpful. You have to focus a tank at this sort of stage. You have to take out one of the guns. We do so. Artie's still shooting at me. I got that one into the Vengeance. I'm going to be able to out reload and get the kill on this Vengeance as long as the Fun Police doesn't kill me. So we do pretty well there. Thankfully we had enough hit points to survive that encounter. We needed it, and we were able to take out 2 of the tanks. The enemy Talon is now there in front of us. Obviously I'm a one-shot to this tank, but it does have terrible aim time. Not to, you know, mean that it's going to be able to just snapshot us, because sometimes that happens. I'm looking to try and help out my tank, but I can't get too close because obviously I am a one-shot. He's not looking, not paying attention. We get 1 shot in. He's still shooting our friendly hammer there. I'm going to try and get another one in while he's fighting the hammer. Should be able to get one in, which we do successfully do. Looking for the finish, and he gets taken out by the hammer. Now somehow we managed to bring that one back. It wasn't looking too pretty for a second there. Now there's 3 tanks left. 2 tanks are at our base. I'm not concerned about them capping out, because they're still fighting a tank, and I have the time to get back to the base. So that's not a major concern for me right now. I'm going to use this window of opportunity to deal with the Fun Police, because I don't want to be on a one-shot and have to fight potentially 2 tanks with the Fun Police shooting at us. So we swap to the HE rounds, because we know we can pen the artillery with the HE, and then you've got your 330, you know, Alpha. And when you've got a 330 Alpha with this quick reload, if you're able to pen every shot, you can really rack up the damage. So if you ever see an opportunity to shoot like a Borsig or an artillery, something you know you can pen, basically, swap to those HE. That's why I carry 5. I'm actually tempted to carry a little bit more, because it can really boost your damage in very quickly, with that DPM. So we know the Fun Police has got to be around here somewhere. We saw him fire, so he has to be around here. I'm expecting to come into contact with him at any point now. And yeah, and I want to try and take care of them before we have to fight those two tanks at our base. But at this point, I'm starting to think, you know, maybe he's not here. But then we do spot them. He's running, and this is where the DPM comes in. We get one in for the 330, already reloaded, get the second shell in. Half his hit points are done, putting us on to just shy of 4,000 damage. Now, I probably should just go and kill the artillery here, but I saw an opportunity to get a shot into that medium tank, and it looks like the front police is actually going to be taken out by our friendly hammer now, which is a shame because I would have liked to pick up the kill. He does get taken out. There's only one tank left now. I still have the HE loaded, which is not ideal, but I get one shot in, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get the final shot in to pick up a kill, and we do. And we do at least manage to pick up the 4th kill, bringing us to 4,000 damage and a little bit of assistance. 1800 base XP, so, you know, 700 assistance. It is only a 2nd class, but mainly that's because the tanks just come out, so the requirements are set, you know, higher than they normally would be. This would normally be at least a 1st class, you know, 1800 damage. But yeah, that's it for the first replay. We got one more to come, so let's move along, and I'll see you there in a bit. Okay, so here we are for the final replay on Pell River. We are top tier again, and there is one enemy light tank, but there is no enemy fun police. Now, it is team destruction, so we don't have to worry about being capped out. Now, I'm going to take the middle at the start because it's as good a place as any for a medium tank like this, because I've got lots of shots on lots of different angles. So I'm going to take that quickly, but before we do so, you get to witness some fantastic driving. Driving straight into that massive water fountain. But now we've got that out of the way, we can start to try and shoot some tanks. So we an enemy light tank gets shot. We get a couple. We'll get one shot in there to the light tank. Now you do have to lead your shells, because as I said, the shell velocity on these AP rounds isn't fantastic, and nor is it on the heat shells. So you do have to lead your shots on these with this tank. Now, an enemy medium is in the open here, so we should be able to get some punish. We do get one in. We're trying to keep our distance at the moment while they're lit, because obviously there's no point getting detected. We want to just be able to fire for free if we can. But the enemy team has now got unlit, so I'm trying to edge forward. But despite this poor little enemy Cheery in the open, we're going to see if we can peek and get a shot in. We do manage to pick up the kill, but we get detected in return. There's an enemy Rex there, which we don't want to be trapped in, because he's got an autoloader, and it could get rid of a lot of our hit points very quickly. So we pull back into cover while we try and look for some more shots. We get another shot into the object there, damaging his engine, picking up another penetration. The Rex is now in a position where we can potentially have shots in. Another little medium gives us a little extra shot as well. We don't quite get the reload in to get a second one in, but we're going to peek again to try and get one into this Rex, which we do, giving us our first 1,000 damage of the game. And this game's very even at the moment. It looks like the majority of our team has pushed down the sort of heavy flank, if you want to call it, on the other side, which is okay, but once you've won it, they're going to might potentially be pushing out into the open there. And we are losing this side on the right hand side, which, because it's team destruction, it's not the end of the world. I don't have to worry about being capped out, but you know, it's just something, got all these little things I've got to be aware of, you know, while you're playing, just to try and you know just be aware of your surroundings, basically, and your map awareness. The enemy O there, or OD, is pushing into the open. We've got 3 farms on this tank. I want to get rid of this tank as quickly as I possibly can, because the enemy tanks on the right hand side towards our spawn have broken through and are pushing through to our one tank destroyer left there by itself. Or no, there is 2 tanks, sorry, and I want to be able to help those as quick as we can. So we do take care of that tank pretty quickly, thanks to the the great DPM of the tank. And now we're looking to see if we can get any shots to help our tanks over on the right hand side. Thankfully for me, the middle's been uncontested at the moment, pretty much from all the games so far, which has allowed me to just have shots all these multiple different angles while the team push through. They have broke through now on this base. I need to get punished while they're attacking our tanks. If we're going to kill our tanks over here, I want to put punish in. So we get one into this SDG. He is in the open. We should be able to get quite a few shots in. This is exactly what you want with this tank. Any time you get an opportunity just to get shots in, you know. If you, for example, if you find an enemy tiger like this, and you're going to be able to just farm their hit points. So we do get 3 shots, I think, into the STG, putting them onto a 1-shot. Now we're looking to try and feather a shot, you know, anywhere we can. You're trying to get a shot into this Alpha and Tiger there. Unfortunately, it's not working for us. He's not poking. I don't want to go over there because there's at least 3 tanks, you know, with that Rex. I want to try and keep my distance from that Rex if I can. And we're starting to lose that side. So being stuck in this middle now, we've lost that side, is not ideal, because if like they all push me together, they're going to kill me, because that's something you need to be aware of in this tank. You know, it has no armor. So I'm starting to think that I want to try and move out of here. I'm just having a cheeky, you know, poke over all the exits there to see if we spot anything, but we haven't done. And now I feel like it's time for me to get out of there and try and join my team over there and try and stick together a little bit more, because like I say, I'm just here by myself right now, and I've got a feeling they're going to start cutting, an enemy team's going to start coming for me. So I'm going to get out of there before I get trapped, before it's too late. And you know, thankfully I did, because I just spotted this enemy Rex. Now this Rex can probably clip me out, and you know, although I'm going to get a lot of damage into him, he's going to be able to get rid of a lot of my hit points very quickly. So I'm just going to get out of there. I'm not going to give him that opportunity, and just reload, you know, get my distance and then attack from a different angle. Unfortunately, my friendly teammates are kind of in the open and they're taking a lot of damage, I believe. Yeah, well, they're in basically they're in an awkward crossfire between the enemy team. The Rex spots me and gets 1 tank in before I'm able to get safe. I'm going to stay hidden behind this. You know, right, I'm going to look to see if I can get a shot in, just where I can. He has pulled back now. And now at this point, you know, I'm not liking where I am. My teammates are starting to die. And I'm now in a 2 versus 6. You know, this game is turned for the worst very, very quickly. So I need to try and get behind and do some damage and just relocate, because where I am right now, I'm stuck. You know, I had no angles basically. So I'm going to use what the advantages of this tank, and that is its speed and its mobility. Now at this point, I've noticed the Rex is probably unloading into our heavy tank. I actually hear him fire a few shells, and at that point I know, well, he's probably going to be on reload, because he's firing some few shots into that heavy tank. He's definitely not going to have a full clip, and if I can catch him while he's on reload, then he's going to have a 30-second reload. He's not going to be able to shoot me back, and I'm going to be able to take this tank out before he even escapes. So I'm pouring around now. I know he's on reload. He's not shooting us. He's running, you know, so we know he's reloading. There's nothing he can do. He can't shoot us back, and that's kind of worked out brilliantly. We've taken care of, you know, one of the really dangerous tanks left on our team. The other one being probably the G-Saw, because that tank can just take us out. You know, it's got a devastating clip, a devastating, you know, camo. That's not a tank I want to be dealing with. I'm kind of hoping that he's, you know, not full hit points, but I haven't spotted him the whole game, so I have no idea. I have no information on that tank. I'm in 1 versus 4 now. The best thing I can do in this scenario again is use the tank to my advantage. I'm on a big map, Pell River. There's no cap circle, so I don't have to worry about being capped out. I want to just try and relocate, get out of there, so the enemy team just don't know where I am, and try and use my camo, my view range, to outspot the enemy tanks and catch them in an awkward angle. You know, if they, like for example, if they start crossing in the open in the water, then I'm going to be able to take them out. I don't want to have to be fighting them in a brawl. You know, if I was on a map like Ghost Town or something now, this would be a lot harder to achieve, because obviously such a smaller map, they're going to be able to find me. But with a map like this, I have the mobility. I can just keep, you know, shooting, retreating until I find an angle which works for me, so I can take out a tank. You know, ideally, if I can kill the tanks 1v1, you know, that's exactly what I want. I don't want to have to be fighting a 1 versus 4 scenario. So at this point, we know the enemy team just don't know where I am, because I could really be anywhere. I don't know where the enemy team is. So I'm just trying to find them and try and catch them off guard, and just hope for the best at this point. Like I said, the worst thing for me is I could just go around this corner and the enemy G-Saw would be there. that would not be ideal, because they would be able to just clip us, and that wouldn't be good. So we're trying to find a tank. I keep poking these ridges just to try and detect, make sure I spot any tanks which were crossing in the open. I'm thinking maybe there could be a tank in the base. Our friendly tanks died, in the middle. Is there a tank which has just stayed there? I'm going to try and find out, get some information. There's still 6 minutes on the clock, so I don't need to panic just about that. Like I say, it's team destruction. I don't have to worry about being capped out. But I haven't detected anything there, so at this point I really don't know where the team is. They could have just been chasing us. We could be driving around in circles. So I tried to decide to turn around. Again, I don't want to fight them in this corridor area like this. I want to spot them in the open, so I'm going to try and get to the ridge again, see if we can spot anything this time. As time goes on, maybe they'll be impatient, start crossing it just to try and find us. I'm looking to try and find some tanks. So I pull up to this bush, but as we do, we get detected. It's the SDG we shot earlier, who's a 2-shot to us now. We thankfully actually don't have to eat one because it gets absorbed in our tract, and we take a tank out. Now that is perfect. Now what I want to do now is relocate, but I don't want to do so while I'm detected. So I lose my spot first. Now that's important because you don't want to start moving around until you lost that detection mark. The sixth sense is gone, because now the enemy team doesn't know where I'm going. If I started to move into a different place while I was detected, they'd have a rough idea where I was. As it stands, we've lost our spot now, so we're going to again just try and catch out and find another tank, and just try and you have a decent game. We've got 4,000 damage, 28 pens, 4 kills. But yeah, I really would like to win this. I think as I was playing it, I didn't know if I was in for collies. As it stood, I was in a 1v4. I couldn't remember if I was in a 1v5 or not. As I was playing, there was quite a lot going on. I'm just trying to find another tank. Still 4 minutes on the clock. They do get fortune. We spot this object who we should be able to kill before he's able to do enough significant damage to us. We won in return. It does have a turret lock, this tank. I'm just going to try and full send and take this tank out as quickly as I possibly can. It needs to die fast, and we do take them out. We didn't want to hang around. When you've got the win on a tank, you just got to do it in this scenario, because I don't want to have to be fighting a tank for too long. Don't want them to get away, because then the friends could turn up. So again, we lose the spot, and now we need to try and find another tank. We don't know where they are, so we're thinking maybe they're going to start to come from this direction. As it stands, we ended up doing a lot of driving, so I'm going to just skip forward a little bit until the next engagement. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the music. Now, as you can imagine, at this point, I'm thinking this game is done. I've got 1 minute left. I haven't found a tank. I'm very frustrated because I just tried to find them. I don't know where they are. So I start to come around the corner, and then we spot the enemy heavy tank which we were shooting earlier. There's about a 3-shot to us. We get 2 shots in. We can eat a shot if we need to eat a shot. We don't have to, and we take them out. And we're thinking, oh my god, 39 seconds. Now at this point, this game is up to, we don't know if we're going to win. It could be a win. It could be a loss. It's probably just going to be done on the damage done. We've got 30 seconds left. It's just the enemy G-Saw. At this point, I have no idea where they are. I have no idea, how many hit points they are, whether they're a one-shot or anything. There's only less than 20 seconds left on the clock now. So we start to go around just hoping that we maybe spot them and have a one-shot, because we're on for the Devastator at this point. We come around, 6 seconds to go. We do spot the G-Saw. It's full health. We try and snap one in. It doesn't work. We try and snap another one in, and we end up eating 2 shots, and the game is done. So we tried, but unfortunately it was a close defeat. We did all we could do. We still went on to have a good game though. We got 6 kills, 5,200 damage, no assistance. It's only a first class, but it was a loss. I mean, if we would have won, that would have been an ace tanker, which is a shame. But we did all we could do. And I hope you enjoyed the tank. I hope you enjoyed the replay, and hopefully that shows you what this tank can do. I do quite like this tank, I must admit. I do like the mobility and that quick reload. So it's a nice premium tank. But anyway, thank you so much for your support. I know I say this all the time, but honestly, your support has genuinely been amazing. So thank you so much, and happy tanking.
Hadouken! Boom! Enemy armor destroyed!